Powell here, and welcome to the next episode of the Backstory on Marketing and AI. If you haven't already done so, please visit prorelevant.com and sign up for all of these episodes and podcasts. As you know, I am the author of the upcoming book, The AI Marketing Machine, and you can find out more information on that at marketingmachine.prorelevant.com. Today, I'm interviewing Lior Eldon of MoBurst. And before we get started, let me tell you a little bit about him. He is the founder and COO of MoBurst. MoBurst is a global digital full service mobile first marketing agency. With expertise in organic and paid marketing, Lior has been instrumental in driving innovative strategies that have propelled numerous startups and Fortune 500 companies to success. Under his leadership, MoBurst has worked with top brands like Google, Samsung, Uber, Reddit, and Pfizer, and helping them to achieve significant growth. His passion for leveraging data-driven insights and creative solutions has established him as a thought leader in the digital marketing industry. Lior, welcome. It's so good to have you today.
Thanks, Guy. Thanks for the warm intro. Happy to be here.
Absolutely. It's great to have you here, and your background is perfect for what we're going to be talking about. So, before we get started, so what is your backstory on AI and marketing? How did you get involved in all this good stuff?
Yeah, so I think I've been into passionate about, the internet and specifically internet marketing for I don't know, the past 20 years or so. And I think being in marketing kind of exposes you, and certainly within the kind of horizon of the last 15 to 20 years to to kind of the entrance of Google in the early days, and and that's how I got personally into SEO and got involved initially around that, and then the rise of social and the rise of mobile. So through all the different kind of waves and channels that became what digital marketing is today. Um, and we as Mobrist, we serve kind of a very wide range of clients. We have the biggest brands in the world, which we do growth marketing for. And when the AI revolution started, we knew that we needed to attack this twofold. We needed to understand what opportunities there is in terms of leveraging it for our clients, and that's where places like AEO and GEO and just being more present, or how to get more present on all the different LLMs and ChatGPTs and the likes. And on the other hand, how to improve our services and essentially be more efficient and also offer additional offerings we could not do so by implementing AI internally. So happy to kind of unfold each of those today.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're so right. It does allow us as service providers to add to our abilities to provide more value by having AI and AI agents and what have you to really just add that, the next level of a finishing touch to what we're doing. Now, you talk about like an organizational blueprint for AI and how to build a framework for measuring, adoption and embedding AI across the workforce. And today, we've not only got the workforce on site, but we've got a distributed workforce and certainly in many cases non-technical. Tell us a little bit about that.
So one of the things that we found exactly for the reason that you mentioned that we are also have a distributed workforce across multiple locations. We have different teams with different levels of technical capabilities. So we have kind of developers, which are obviously very technical. We have analysts, but then we also have people who write content or do PR, which kind of by definition have another level of technical background. So when thinking on how to kind of address that and get all of the company onto this new AI phenomena, we came about with something we like to call the AI Champion program, and essentially took uh, chose from every department a person which was passionate about AI, and kind of made him the internal champion of his department, So we trained those folks. We got them kind of exposed to all these new tools, and on the other hand, they came and represented their teams and their departments in what are the needs, what are the use cases, because obviously the influencer marketing team needs very different things than the search, than the SEO team, than the PR team. Uh, and that's how we kind of and together with that we also started to do AI hackathons. So put a bunch of folks together for a day or two, and give them all the support and training that they need to just start to build tools. Initially, it kind of put people in places where they were not used to being, certainly like service-oriented people. Um, but I think it showed everyone what's possible and really got the organization psyched about it. And today we're literally building products for every department. We have a centralized AI team which works with the different champions to build products for each and every team that we are rolling out to clients, and it's amazing to see that transformation happening.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I think that's really fascinating too with AI is, and I don't know what the right term is, but democratizing innovation might be a good one. And what I've seen with a lot of the larger brands here in the US, at least, is you have kind of this tug of war between the centralized, maybe not IT, but certainly security and reputation, trying to control everything. Rightly so, because things can go wrong. But then you also have the people out there that want to use the tools and advantage and take advantage of the best tools that are out there and do some really cool stuff. And so you kind of have to have both, where you have the democratization of innovation plus the standards and the governance that also needs to be there. So, how do you see it unfolding in organizations that you're working with?
Yeah, that's a great point. I can tell you, like we, as I mentioned, we work with big companies and are well aware of all the necessities and requirements for security and all the kind of compliance stuff. And when we started to look into this, one of the things I realized is that because of this compliance issue and it was slowing us back. People were not using AI because we didn't have legal clearance or they didn't know if they could use it. So one of the first things that we did is do a very thorough legal overview to create an AI policy to run all the different tools that are relevant for us. So ChatGPT, which subscription do we need to take in order to be compliant with our company? What creative tools are out there that can kind of allow us the IP rights so we can assign them to our clients? Like all kinds of legal questions, which right. So we did a very, very thorough review and created essentially a system to fast track such new tools and new methodologies. And also kind of empowered the so-called AI champions I talked about to kind of raise questions and be kind of an additional set of eyes if there's any AI driven and deliverable. I think that that's kind of key to kind of make sure that especially when working with these big companies, that there's a process in place that people know which tools to use, which LLMs to use, that they use the company LLM and not kind of their personal ones. So I think it's a lot of just kind of designing that framework so people would know within what they're working. And it's something that we're constantly evolving as, new tools come out and Google like did some very interesting changes in what they allow and that they indemnify if there's any copywriting issue with the creative that you create on their platform. So that's how we kind of found out that kind of silver lining of moving fast, but within a certain in certain limits. But that really kind of unleashed the beast in terms of okay,
Mhm.
now that we have this framework, go crazy, and now let's start experimenting and running with it. Um, Always, we make sure we have a human in the loop in, before the final deliverable, or kind of so things will not go totally wrong. But we're also making these experiments of, we have this experiment of a website we created, unaffiliated with any client, but just for our own sake, that writes its own AI content completely, and their new posts daily, and we're kind of testing to see how that ranks, and what how does the different search engines perceive that kind of content. So I think there's a lot to experiment and also learn within, as long as you keep it within, a certain framework of compliance.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's such a fascinating challenge because you don't want to hold people back. And you do want to have that innovation and those really great ideas, and there's no question that AI can do that. And yet, there is that huge risk, and certainly the bigger the company, the larger the risk, because they're not going to sue small companies. They're going to go after the big companies that are really stealing stuff. So that's a challenge, and I think that leads to the culture within the organization. So, this cultural engine, this growth engine that you want to foster. And but how do you foster that where the teams are actively looking for and searching out ways to use AI in a practical way, but yet not risking the company from a legal liability, or even from a reputational standpoint? How do you see that going?
Yeah, so I think the first is, again, creating this fast track for compliance and legal. So there's a new tool. Let's just make sure, it's compliant, it up to standard in terms of not uploading client data. It doesn't learn on our data, etc. What kind of access do we give it? And then obviously, like we also, in the way that we work with clients, there are clients, and that's totally their choice. But there are clients which explicitly ask us not to use AI, so we kind of make sure that kind of propagates to the entire organization. And for these clients, we make sure we don't use AI. But we're also very candid with the clients that are open to it, like where are you using it, how are we using it, to make sure that it makes sense. Because there are the places that we are trying to employ AI is where it can enhance, our creativity. It can reduce the amount of free up our team to do, the work that matters, the creative work, the strategic work, and that's usually in line with what our clients want to. They want us um, to work on the stuff that actually moves the needle and not on the nitty-gritty.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and that is what marketing is about, is how do we move the needle? And and marketing then has to come up with these great ideas, and being able to foster that so that we can find applications that are, on the one hand, compliant, aren't going to put the company at risk, and yet can really support that idea generation and that uniqueness that marketers are always striving for. Which brings us kind of to what is the future of work, especially for marketers? How are marketers, going to look at things tomorrow, next week, next month, next year? And so, what are your perspectives on that?
So I'm one of the things that I'm thinking a lot about is how is this the notion that with AI and workers that have agency and feel empowered by it and know how to utilize it, uh, um, the seniority kind of doesn't matter as much. Of course, there's somebody who's seen it all and has lots of professional knowledge. That's still super important. But in many cases and roles, someone that is employed with with AI and knows how to utilize it can actually do more than someone even much more experienced than him. So I think the um, the mentality that people come to it and workers come to it, and of course the kind of framework the organization gives them, how much creative freedom does it give, do we give them the right tools, etc., in training. But I think that's There's that saying that AI won't replace you. It's someone that uses AI, but we're really seeing that kind of as it rolls out, that there are folks which are kind of AI native, and we're trying to as a company to make this AI transformation. So how do we foster those? How do we hire more of folks that are AI native? So I think that's kind of the key in succeeding in this future AI world.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you mentioned something back, and I meant to ask you about it. You talked about an AI hackathon. Tell us about that, and how did it work, and who was involved in it, and what were kind of some of the results that you can really say we achieved this improvement for those people that were there?
Yeah. So I think that was a very, interesting, and we learned a lot from it. So essentially, everyone I think knows what a hackathon is. It's kind of a day or so where people come together, and there isn't necessarily like a goal. They want to innovate and create new things. It's usually around builders, around developers, around product managers. And we try to take that notion into our teams with some adaptations to, okay, these are non-technical people. They don't necessarily, they've never built software, they've never built tools. So one of the things we made sure is that we do a lot, some of the ideation and like what are we going to do, start that in advance so that when the group comes together for the hackathon, they know what kind of is the mission, and what teams kind of chose to do is just things that will help them with their day to day. So either automate bits of the reportings. So I have a weekly deck I need to create. I'm crunching numbers from here and there. So build an AI that can facilitate that, and then I only look at the data, give my insights rather than doing all the nitty-gritty. So teams came with very like unique and interesting sets, community management, like if we have uh, uh, if we get a comment on one of our posts, and we have the brand guidelines and we have all the knowledge on the brand voice, we can leverage AI to create a response for us, and kind of send it to the human in the loop to make sure it's on brand, and then it saves a ton of time of kind of going and answering comments. So all these kinds of use cases that we found, and I think we did a few rounds of those. The I think the first ones, it put some folks in kind of in an environment where they weren't as comfortable because, again, how do we use it? What do we do? What's expected? But as we kind of did a few rounds, I think people got more comfortable with the unknown, with being in this situation of actually building something. Um, and also became more comfortable with using these tools. And we made sure to have kind of technical support on call, and kind of a team that can support them to make sure they're actually making progress. But the goal was within one day to come up with an MVP, to have a working product at the end of the day that we can then continue and develop into a full-fledged product. Uh, and besides building quite a few products that we can now kind of bring to life and roll out to clients, it really got the team going in terms of understanding what AI is, and really unleash kind of the capabilities and get people hooked on the opportunity. So we really saw that kind of dynamic change from, in a few months since we started to do that.
Yeah, so and I could see that being incredibly energizing for those people that are in there to not only to do some new things that they haven't done, but to see what everybody else is doing. As I've done these interviews and I talk to a lot of people, about these interviews and the podcast and what I've learned, and then my upcoming book, it's fascinating to learn what and how people are using and asking certain questions, and that kind of common knowledge is it's kind of this cloud of common knowledge that is getting bigger and bigger to support. the marketers as they dive in and talk to others and then learn things and then ask just slightly differently, and yet then they get significantly better answers. And I found that to be fascinating. And I really like your concept of the AI hackathon.
Yeah, yeah. It took us, it takes some adaptation, I think, for a service company and for a remote company. We have teams which are, got together in the office, and I think that it's easier to create that atmosphere and get people excited than remote, obviously. But yeah, I think through kind of trial and error, we really kind of honed in on what works and it just propelled the change that we were trying to instill in the organization.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, I do have one more question for you, and this does go to kind of like a follow-on to the future of work. And one of the challenges, and let me just step back a second. I was at a presentation this morning, and one of the challenges that marketers, young up and coming marketers have as they're coming out of college or and want to get into the workforce is they are competing not necessarily only with their peers, but now they're competing against AI. And so, what advice would you give to an up and coming new marketer as they're now coming out of college and university and then want to get into marketing? What advice would you give them?
I think that the folks coming out now, these tools are actually their opportunity because, as I mentioned earlier, if you have the right mindset and you have agency to create change and use these tools, then you can do so much more than a senior with 5 or 10 more years of experience. So my advice to them would be just to kind of be the AI guy, be the one that knows all the tools, knows how to use, knows all the features. Obviously, there's so much happening, and I think it's very hard even to the folks that are dealing with within marketing to keep up the pace. So don't necessarily need to spread across everything, but pick a few tools, make sure you're well versed in how to use. And I think that's the opportunity where we're now incorporating AI into our interviews. We're incorporating AI knowledge and into how we evaluate employees, and I'm sure this is something that's happening across organizations. So the young folks that will come as AI native, as ones that can help these organizations become more AI native, will be the ones that will win here.
Yeah, fantastic. I agree with you so much. It's interesting. I've taught marketing to a at Emory University and a couple of other universities here in the Southeast, and taught as a guest lecturer. I wasn't responsible for the whole class, and I've been talking to the professors, and their attitude towards AI shifted, I would say, towards the end of last year, where they used to be kind of like, no, 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 you can't use it, don't use it. And now they're saying, listen, you have to use it. And not only that, if you don't use it, I am not going to accept your papers or whatever you submit. I am not going to accept it. And so that I think is so critical, and it dovetails exactly with what you were talking about in terms of the young marketers being the AI expert, the tools expert, not necessarily the domain expertise expert. That's for the seniors, and but they then need to learn from the juniors, the new folks coming in, on what tools are out there, so that the seniors then can take advantage of that. That makes so much sense.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Well, Lior, thank you so much. This has been fantastic. I really like your idea on the AI hackathon, and I hate to say it, I may end up stealing that idea because it is such a good one. And I really appreciate that. But thank you. So, where can folks reach out to you and learn more about you and your company?
Sure. So our website is moburs.com, MOBURST. And I am Lior Eldan on LinkedIn, on X, so you can find us there.
Fantastic. So moburst.com. So fantastic. Again, thank you, Lior, and to the audience. Definitely stay tuned for many other videos in this series of the backstory on AI and marketing. And if you get a chance, please visit marketingmachine.prorelevant.com and download some information on my new book. Lior, thank you again so much.
Thanks, guy. It was a pleasure.